very warm welcome to all those who are joining us tonight. My name is Pamela Marwisa. Welcome to Family Affairs Monday, a platform where we discuss various aspects that affect us as families. In the last few weeks, we've been looking at the issue of conflict. We've looked at different aspects of conflict, what it is, and we've also looked at the different styles in which people try to resolve conflict. And our focus tonight is on understanding the real causes behind conflicts. Oftentimes we find that whenever there's a conflict, this is just the tip of the iceberg. So tonight we just want to look at the real reasons behind conflict. We want to find out what really lies underneath the surface. So this is our focus for tonight. So there's an old saying which says you can choose your friends, but not your family or relatives, unfortunately. And in most families, we do experience frequent conflicts and hurdles at times. But in order to manage conflicts and improve family relations, it's important to understand the real reasons behind family conflicts. And a conflict is actually like an iceberg. There is a small part of it that is above the water, which is visible, and then there's the bigger picture. Part of that lies underneath the water most of the time. So conflict is like an iceberg. So what we do see most of the time, like I said, is the tip of the iceberg. And the portion that we see on the surface is usually the emotions, the attitudes, and the behaviors. However, underneath all that are needs, expectations, values that most of us are not oftentimes that are not being expressed, and sometimes we're not even aware of them ourselves. So according to the conflict iceberg model, conflict usually has different layers, and each layer may add weight and immobility to our arguments when we're in conflict. So by exploring the unsurfaced layers of the iceberg, we can actually uncover the root causes of the conflict in order to resolve it properly. So we just want to look at what are the real causes behind conflicts? What is below the waterline? There are several causes, and the first one that we're just going to look at is personality differences. So personality differences can cause people to clash because they have different approaches to life. For example, some personalities are more task-oriented and focus on their to-do list and getting things done. These are your cholerics. They're more focused on results and getting things done. Whereas some personalities are more people-oriented and focus on building relationships first and are more concerned about the feelings and happiness of others. These are your sanguines. So these personality differences can actually cause conflict. Another cause of conflict usually is procedural differences. So people have different ways of doing things. For example, when grocery shopping, some people like to go aisle by aisle and strictly follow a shopping list, while some people are more laid back and crisscross from one aisle to another. So this can actually be a cause of conflict because some people, they're like ducks. They like their ducks in a row and they like to do things in a methodical way. So this can be a cause of conflict. Another cause of conflict is goal differences. So that's disagreeing about what's important. So a conflict can arise when one person's priorities don't coincide with the other. For example, I have a friend of mine who once came to me and said, I'm so upset with my husband because I asked him for something that was really, really important for me. And he said, oh, that's priority number Z. And then he went off and bought something that she thought was priority number Z. So differences in goals and in agreeing what is important can actually cause conflict. Another cause of conflict is perceptual differences, just seeing things differently. Also, sometimes conflicts arise because people perceive things differently, and our perceptual set involves our attitudes, beliefs, and values about the world. So, perception acts as a lens through which we view reality, but the problem is the lens through which we perceive are often distorted by our past experiences, our emotions, our preconceived notions, and cognitive distortions. And our perceptions usually are not reality and are often wrong. For example, if someone is wearing green colored lenses, everything that they see will be green, while somebody else will be wearing red colored lenses. So if you ask those two different people, they'll tell you that everything is green or everything is red, but actually none of the things can actually be red or green. It's just a perception. Another reason why people have conflict is because of unmet expectations. So most conflicts start when reality is different from our expectations. And the major reason why expectations usually go unfulfilled is often because they are not expressed openly. It's common to project our perspectives onto others and assume that they feel and think in a similar way. And we in turn expect the other person to behave appropriately according to our standards, of course. And when they don't act as we expect, usually we feel hurt, we feel betrayed and angry. But the truth is, most people cannot read your mind, and sometimes, when you don't express your expectations, other people cannot read your mind. Another cause of conflict is due to conflicting needs. So sometimes satisfaction of one need entails foregoing the satisfaction of the other. And when needs are dissatisfied, individuals get frustrated, and frustration often sets in the conflict process. So it is important for you to understand what your deep-seated need is and try to communicate with others. And it's important to stay in touch with what is really troubling you. For example, couples often argue about petty differences, like the way she hangs the towel or the way she does the dishes. And, sometimes people don't really express what is really bothering them. So this can be another cause of conflict. How do you discover the real cause behind conflict? It is important to take responsibility, to ask yourself hard questions. Take the responsibility and ask yourself hard questions. For example, ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? And why am I so upset right now? So our feelings always tell us something about our goals. This is what we call emotional intelligence. So our feelings always tell us something about our goals. For example, if you are angry, it means you have a goal somewhere that is blocked. The idea is to ask yourself, what is this goal that is blocked? Should it be a goal? Is it within my control? Because if you continue making something a goal that is outside your control, guess what? It's always going to be blocked and you're always going to be angry. Depression can indicate that your goal is unreachable. Again, the idea is to ask yourself, what is the goal that is unreachable? Is it a good goal? Is it within my control? So these are important questions that you can ask. Another question that you can ask yourself is, why is it so important for me to do this? Why does it bother me so much if so and so does something that I don't like? So by exploring the answers to these questions, it's possible to uncover the root cause of the conflict in order to resolve it properly. So another way that you can discover the real reason behind a conflict is by practicing acceptance. So if you find yourself in the midst of a conflict, try to remember that the other person is coming into the situation with a totally different background and a set of experiences than yourself. So it's important to clarify what another's expectations are in a scenario by asking them questions. Remember, you may have different expectations. So finally, keep in mind that your objective when dealing with a conflict is to solve the problem rather than win the fight. And sometimes it's better to be happy than to be right. Have a great day.